make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Mission control to Vic. Mission control to Vic. Vic, are you ready, man?
Yeah.
Tell me you can trust me.
Don't forget our intel. Something about her is not normal.
You can trust me. You love me. You want to make me happy.
I know your hands are filthy. And I know about your tricks. The only thing I don't know is what you are.
You die for me.
But I'll figure that out.
Don't disappoint me.
Once I haul you out of here.
Who did you lose to make you this angry?
Not human. What are you?
I'm so much more.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, welcome to the Thursday night Character Autopsy. Welcome to the Character Morgue. Got a comment? Excuse me. And what we got over here? Wrangler, greetings, salutations, and stuff. Hey, greetings to you, man. My ride or die individual. Anyway, let me give you a clue as to who my guest is tonight. So anybody get that subtle clue? Anybody figure it out from that real subtle thing there? No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me bring him on. Frost Comics.
I mean, I have a guess,
welcome.
I feel like I already know the answer, so I don't think I qualify.
Yeah.
But yes, it is. It is. I am here, and currently, Ghost is in the lead, 54.3% to 45.7% for Pistol Shrimp. So,
yeah, he picked up some. He picked up some votes today. So
yeah,
you were blowing him out.
It's going to be close. It's going to be down to the wire. But I'm actually shocked that I'm here. So,
well, yeah, he beat Ironsides, which was probably the biggest upset I'd say.
I agree. Yeah,
so far.
I agree with you. I really thought Ironsides had that one in the bag, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just I don't know. The votes didn't show up.
Right.
But it is what it is. I told him he reminds me of 83 North Carolina State. If you know anything about that particular tournament.
Can't say I do.
Hopefully he won't pull a. Yeah. Well, it's Jim Valvano and the Cardiac Cats. They beat the heavily favored Houston Cougars with a young Akeem Olajuwon and the Clyde Drexler. Both were on that team. There were a bunch of nobodies, and they upset them. It was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Anyway, hopefully he won't Jim Valvano you. So fingers crossed. Anyway, so today we're going to do a exercise. All right. No preparation needed. Just knowledge of your character.
Yes.
So we're going to take you through the autopsy process. It's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to start out with the synopsis. So we call this the first cut. So what's an overview of Sauska?
So Sauska, without diving too deeply into lore, and not for any spoiler reasons, just because that'll be in a different section where I expand a little bit on that. But the broad overview of Sauska is that she is extraordinarily narcissistic, hedonistic, sadistic, and just evil. There are a lot of characters who are villains, and they're villains for one reason or the other. Sauska is not a complex character in a lot of ways. There's a lot of complexity into her psychology, but her motivation is simply that she is self-interested. And if she likes it, or she wants to do it, or if she finds it pleasurable or enjoyable, then she wants to do it. And that's the only thing that matters to her. And she doesn't care about anything else. Not to jump ahead too much, but one of the other sections, you talk about principles and if they're guided by it. She does not have a guiding set of principles beyond I will do what I want to do, and whatever suits me is what I want to do. And that's really it. So that's actually works really well when you're writing some villains, because not every villain has to be terribly complex. Some people are just bad, and she's just a bad person, and you can go through her history and you can find out why she's bad or how she got to be bad. But the end result is that she is still just a really awful person, and she does awful things because she doesn't care about anyone other than herself.
So she's kind of like Paris Hilton, but evil.
Right. If you could imagine, like, honestly, if you took Paris Hilton and you did a fusion dance with her and the Purple Man from Marvel Comics, that'd kind of be Sauska.
Wow, that's terrifying.
It is horrifying to think about. Yes.
All right. Yep. So that's a good overview. So that's the first cut. All right. Time to dig deeper. So let's go with character history.
Right. So here's where I can dive in a little bit. And I kind of have to expand a little bit on her father to get to her. So Sauska is a Nephilim in my comic book. Nephilim are just like, I think in biblical Apocrypha, they're half fallen angel and half human. And that is Sauska's origin story, boiled down to like a basic biology. So she's an enhanced human. In my story, Nephilim are all superhuman to some extent. They're stronger than humans. They're more durable than humans. They're faster than humans. They may not get to like ridiculous. Like she can't lift up a car. She can't throw a bus at somebody. But if you read the first issue, she can hit really hard. She can hit someone that's like average height and weight, like Ghost, and she can send him flying. So they're very lethal physically if pushed into a confrontation. So her other quirk, I guess you could say, is beyond just being that, is that Nephilim also can possess unique supernatural abilities too. So each one is different. It's almost like a mutation or a quirk from My Hero Academia. You're born with it, and it's different depending on which fallen angel your parentage might come from, different things like that. So her father is actually the source of a lot of her traits in a lot of ways. Her father is a fallen angel named Semyaza, who was the leader of the Grigori, which was the fallen angel group that first lusted after women and fell. And he is also supremely narcissistic. He is also supremely sadistic. He is also supremely hedonistic and self-interested. And so when he led the rebellion that came to the angels falling down and rebelling against God, he believed that he was deserving of worship. Like many fallen angels, he is physically, or at least if you could see him, he is beautiful. When he manifests himself, he is beautiful. And so being a beautiful being, he believes that he's deserving of worship. And so he spent many centuries, even after the post-Diluvian period where he had been put on ice, so to speak, before he came back. He spent many centuries like rebuilding a physical empire that he lost after the flood. And so as part of rebuilding that, he was having Nephilim again, because all of the Nephilim that he had before had been killed by the flood. And Sauska was just one of them. And what you can do when you look at the character backstories for each of the Nephilim in the story, they each have a mother who comes from a period of time where there was great turmoil where they're from. So Sauska you can kind of tell she looks just a little bit Asian. Her mother is actually Chinese, and Sauska is actually about 60 years old because her mother gave birth to her during the Cultural Revolution that happened in China. So her father was there, and what he did was he just kind of sowed seeds of discord, and everything that he did globally was to give himself strength, build connections, build underground channels and stuff like that to give him influence and power in a criminal empire. And so he went to various places like the Cultural Revolution in China. He like the younger brother, Sauska's younger brother, for instance, he was born from a Russian woman during the Cold War. So you can look at each different Nephilim, and their mother was someone who was almost kind of preyed upon when they were at their most vulnerable. And so he was in a place working to create unrest. And he's a lech. That was like his whole origin story, was that he fell because he lusted after women. Right. So while he's in each of these places, if a particular woman would catch his eye, then he would either use power or protection or seduction or whatever, and manipulate them into being basically a concubine. And then he would try to have Nephilim, and Nephilim are very rare. They're, if you look at like actual real biology, it's actually very hard to have a cross species birth. It's not common. And so I kind of applied that to the Nephilim as well, where you have angels and humans. They're not exactly 100% compatible. So it's very, very rare when Nephilim actually come onto the scene. So that's why I have even though there's 6 in the story in total, they're about 20 or so years apart, because it's that hard to actually conceive of Nephilim. So that's how she came about. That was her parentage. And so once his woman would give birth to the child that he was trying to sire at a particular time, he would really only keep that woman around until he was bored with her, or until she was no longer attractive to him. Semyaza is a fallen angel. He is extremely bad. There are people on the bad guy team, the bad guy side of my story, where there are shades of gray, where you can see where they don't like what they're doing or they feel forced to it. But there's also people who are just evil, and Semyaza, being a fallen angel, is just evil. And so he's not particularly concerned with being in a loving, caring relationship, being stable or monogamous. He doesn't do that. He is a hedonist. So once he had
he's kind of like a Greek god in a way, which some people do believe that the pantheons of gods were actually Nephilim.
Yep. I'm actually kind of I lean that way myself. I think that would explain a lot of stuff throughout history, but I'm not going there in my book yet, but I don't know. I digress. Anyway. But
that is a great interesting point. Thing about the Nephilim in the Bible being mentioned, it does say that they were mighty men of note, or they kind of like were seen in history as like supernatural beings or whatever. And so you know, pre-diluvian and post-diluvian, which is the fancy word for the flood.
Yeah.
And which some people think that the flood was brought upon the earth. One of the main reasons was to wipe out the Nephilim, who were unnatural in God's order. So do you kind of account for that in your writing? Okay.
Yep. That's actually is all baked into. I don't even know if I'll get there in the first 10 issues, but it is all baked into the backstory, and it is all baked into the current body that Samyaza occupies, I'll say, because he's an angel. So he's actually possessing somebody in the first 8 or 9 books of the 10-book series. So but that is a very fascinating backstory, but it's not about Sauska.
Right.
But you do have to know kind of that background to know where she comes from. So Samyaza, he ultimately wants to be worshipped. So he builds a church that worships him. And so he actually takes aspects. He has his own version of the Bible, where he took the Bible and he just edited it to make it seem like it's not pointing to Christ, it's pointing to him. So they have their own version of the Bible. And so that in that sense, they masquerade as Christians, and it gives them inroads they might not normally have, because they act under the pretense of being Christians. So they have lots of things that are, they do good stuff, but it's like Wilson Fisk. Wilson Fisk does a lot of charity, but it's because he is washing the hand that is holding a bloody knife, And so they do the same thing. They have outreach, and they have homeless shelters, and they have children's ministries, and they have all.
Oh my God, things. Kenneth Copeland.
right, yeah. So I do think he's possessed. Maybe if he wants to do an acting role and I get big enough,
There you go.
I could reach out to him. Just be yourself, man. You don't have to do anything special. Just pretend you're preaching. You're good.
Yeah. Just be your creepy self. Just be your creepy.
Yeah. Just act like your normal demon possessed self. You're fine. You're doing great. Yeah. You didn't even have to give him any lines. So, so they have an orphanage and things like set up, and so the children are kind of placed in an orphanage, and they're raised to an extent until their power manifests. Once their power is manifested and they show that they're useful, that's when they're kind of taken out and they're indoctrinated. And Sauska's power being what it is, and if anyone, I'm sure people have not read my book yet, which you should at frostcomics.com, but her power is that she can force you to obey her. It's a low level, like as far as like range, but very extraordinarily powerful form of telepathy. If she physically touches you skin to skin, then she can make you do what she tells you to do. She has so if she touches you once, you're under her control, and then she does not lose control until you're either out of range, which is a couple miles, or if she gets physically struck where she loses focus and she can't maintain the hold that she has on you. And you also see that in the comic as well. So because her power is what it is, she, as a child, was extraordinarily dangerous, because she could make anyone who was supposed to be watching her or whatever do whatever she wanted. And so you have to think about someone with that ability from childhood being like actually kind of horrifying. And so then you see that kind of person, and then in the system that she was in growing up, being told, no, actually, you are actually the daughter of God. You actually are one of the most important beings that's ever been born. You actually are supremely beautiful. You actually are all these things. Feeding her ego constantly and being told constantly that she is everything that she thinks that she is, and better and more. That's what warped her and made her into the person she is.
Man.
Hey, what's up, Dave? How's it going, man? Thanks for being here. And so that's how she became twisted into the person that she is. And so you see someone who is she's exceptionally beautiful. She's tall. She's got golden blonde hair. She's got mysterious eyes. She's got a great figure.
Right.
All these things that are superficial and beautiful. And so she already has people in the society that she grew up in. For the last, she's 60, like I said. So for decades, she's had men fawning over her. She's had society telling her everything about her. Like in her concept art, she was drawn with a cell phone because even though she's, she's 60, she doesn't act 60 because she's eternally young. So she likes social media. She likes being, getting lots of likes and getting lots of attention and everything. So she's very out with who she is. Even and part of that is how she hides in plain sight, because you wouldn't think that someone who acts like this was actually a threat. You wouldn't think that she's actually that dangerous.
You add vapidness with power. That's a terrifying combination. I mean, we see it in Congress,
Yes, true. Legitimately dangerous vanity is actually quite horrifying. And that's, I think, carried out perfectly by Sauska. And so the thing that's interesting about her is that she's growing up like this, having this ability. She can make people do what she wants, but she doesn't want to until she can't make them do it on her own. So she actually likes to just manipulate people. She likes to just lie to people because it's all a game to her, and that's how she entertains herself. But so she wants to just get people to do what she wants them to by convincing them through her words and seduction and things like that. But if all else fails, she will just tap them on the head and say, do it. And if you look, yes, exactly. Sauska simps are horrifying. And Dave's right. She absolutely has her own simp army, and she's recruiting all the time. So,
she's definitely a terrifying, terrifying villain for the modern age. She really is.
Yes, she is. She really is. And the thing is like I think about like in social media, if she were real and she were ever actually caught, there would be thousands of people who are defending her, saying she did nothing wrong anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like she did. You see it all the time, though. You see it all the time. It's like this person, gets like a social media following, especially pretty women, and then they do horrible things, like they dox people or stuff like that, and it's like, well, it's their fault that they pushed her to dox them,
Do you remember the Japanese girl who stabbed her boyfriend? Do you remember that story?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like it was this like iconic photograph where she was sitting down smoking a cigarette covered in blood, and guys were like, "Well, hang on a minute, I can fix her.
I can fix her. I can fix her. I swear I can fix her."
Yeah, it'd be a lot like that. Yeah. So her she's
like if Eileen Wuornos, was
yeah,
was
exactly.
Attractive
so you've got like all these other dangerous characters. You've got someone who Ashima is one of her older sisters. Ashima can she's differently telepathic. She can read but cannot project her thoughts, and her telepathy is actually honed for combat. So she can't really reach out far, but if you're attacking her, she can sense everything that you're doing, which gives her like a perfect defense. So she's extremely hard to fight because she knows what you're going to do. She's dangerous. Janus, he can open portals and move in and out of stuff. He's extremely dangerous. Amim is a giant. He's like Goliath. He's like the strongest being on the planet in my world. So they're all dangerous. But like Sauska's dangerous in a whole different way because she moves them in a different world, and she doesn't like fight you. She doesn't, like if you read the book, she's only fighting Ghost because she can't touch him. As soon as she gets a finger on him, she wants to know she's going to find out what she wants, and then the next thing is going to be, lights out.
Well, that's a good question. Social media would probably shake her confidence when the trolls start heckling her and she can't mind control them via the internet.
Yes and no. She is absolutely the kind of person. She's absolutely the kind of person who would immediately block if you don't kiss her ass. So that she would handle trolls pretty well in that regard. On the other hand, if she ever found out who it was, she would probably kill them.
She would probably hunt you down in your world. She'd be a tap
She's
on the
very,
door.
very spiteful. So yes, that would definitely happen.
Okay. Well, all right. Moving on to the next category. This one needs a little explanation. My system is basically a binary. You either fall in one category or the other. One is pulp, which means that you're supernatural, but you have a guaranteed kind of like a philosophy that you follow, and you don't deviate from it. And then you got the noir, who are actually extremely human, but they don't have a philosophy they follow, and they're pretty much situational ethic. And so let me. So, okay, is Sauska pulp or is she noir? I'm pretty sure I know what
Absolutely noir. She does not live by a set of principles other than what I want is the best thing and I need it, and everyone who's in my way is in my way and they need to be out of my way. That's her guiding principle. I do want to add
this is a good question, right?
It's a good question. So
yep.
I think Rorschach would genuinely give her trouble because it's I don't want to spoil anything. You should absolutely pick up Morningstar 1 when it comes out. There is a certain character that she tells God, she's such a bad person. She tells someone in front of his girlfriend. I tell me in front of her that I'm sexier, I'm beautiful, and you've always wanted me. And this particular character tells her to go to hell. Mm-hmm. And I think you can probably guess how well she takes that.
Yeah.
But if you are extremely strong-willed, it is possible to resist her. Not completely. Like he couldn't like punch her in the face, but like he was able to actually resist the direct command. So someone like Rorschach, Batman, people who are extremely strong-willed, they would be able to resist to
there's like a I can't remember what it was, but there was like this where there's this like beings who I think they're kind of vampiric in nature, but if they like this was from a Monster Hunter series, but they're like white vampires, but they're seductive. But if they like try to seduce somebody that has true love in their heart, it actually is it actually causes them to blister and you know, and they have an adverse reaction to it. And so you're saying basically if she runs across somebody that has like true, you know, dyed in the wool, somebody like a noir, or I mean like a pulp person who has actual principles.
If you put him on like a scale of 10 and she ran into someone who was like a 9 or a 10 on their principles, then yeah, she wouldn't be able to budge.
Hey, John.
Things. What's up, John?
Good to see you.
Thanks for being here, man.
Dresden Files. Yeah. There's a character in Dresden Files that was similar to it. Yeah, it is. It actually is Dresden Files. That's what it is. It's white vampires in Dresden Files. Nice. Bianca. Yeah, she's Red Court though. Red Court's a different animal. They're very, very animalistic. But yeah, White Court and Dresden Files is like that, where if they touch their skin to somebody who actually has true love in their heart, it actually gives them an allergic reaction. So I imagine that'd be similar to Sauska.
Yeah, probably. Just like with disgust.
Yeah. But if she can't control somebody, she'll probably just murder the shit out of them.
Yeah, it was because that's the other interesting thing too. She doesn't like to get her hands dirty per se, but she does like to make people off themselves, and that's usually her go-to move is actually a Clinton assisted suicide, if you know what I mean. Where she makes somebody shoot themselves in the back of the head twice.
Okay. So I think we're pretty much, So definitely noir. This chick is definitely noir. Okay. So what are the writing challenges to have a character like her? So hit that real quick.
I thought about this, and I have the best answer, because this is legitimately 100% the problem that I've run into with her.
Mhm.
It is actually extremely hard restraining her evil, because if you like, I have gone down the rabbit hole of what someone with her power set would be like, with her psychological profile would be like.
Mhm.
And it's horrifying. And the things that she would do to people, I can't put in a book, because
Yeah.
it would be like adults only, and then a lot of people, including myself, would be like, I don't want to read that, because it's she's just the worst. And so it's actually difficult to, you know, and that's the other thing too. I'm not the kind of person, I can't write something, and if I realize that this is a problem, I can't just not do it. I have to change the situation. I can't put her in a situation where she would do something, and then because of the story, I can't have her do that. I have to change the situation. I have to put her in the situation differently. I have to do something better as a writer to keep her from being in there, because I don't want to have to make a plot hole or a character error that doesn't make sense. I have to, you know, maintain the integrity of my story. And so the way to do that with someone that is this narcissistically evil and vile is I have to be really careful about the situations I put her in, because it's actually really hard to restrain the evil of somebody that can do whatever they want and would go like, she's not like Doc Ock or Green Goblin or someone who's, you know, she's not robbing banks. She's hanging out in a nightclub, ruining the life of a waitress because she spilled her drink on her. You know, like, she's doing evil things to people quietly that no one will notice and no one will care about, because that's another thing that she would get off on, is that no one cares about you, because who are you? You don't matter. It's just another part of who she is.
What is it called? The awful banality of evil.
Yeah.
That's
a perfect explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most evil people are usually the most casual about it.
Yes.
And there's like a level of inhumane that you get to, you know, I guess when you get to somebody like her with privilege, you know, true privilege, not the lot, not the BS privilege, but people with true privilege like this, who's never had to develop that part of where they see other people that aren't, like, you know, pieces on a chessboard, or they're not there, you know, basically because she's the main character in her head, you know. And it's if you're not a narcissistic person, it is difficult to write somebody who's like the almost the opposite of you.
Yeah.
And write them true to themselves. That is a huge challenge, because you'll either want to nerf them, you have an instinct to nerf them, or, you know, or go overboard with them, because, you know, it's hard to ride that line.
Yes, it really is. It really is.
But I mean, the also the challenge of creating somebody this horrific is that you will know that you may write yourself into a corner where the only way out of that corner is to let them do something really, really, you know, that will haunt you, you know, for having written it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Because I on a lark, I was like, I remember bouncing, like, I was talking psychology to one of the different AIs, and I was like, based on like a psychological profile, and it was basically talking about Sauska's psychological profile. And I was like, you know, if this person could make people do whatever they wanted, is it possible that they would do this war crime, this horrible thing, this awful thing? It's like, oh, absolutely, that makes perfect sense. I was like, I was afraid that you were going to say that it does. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate.
Well, and if you're a good writer, I mean, I've read your stuff, and you know, you see this in modern writers who are horrible writers. basically it's like it's like a Ray Skywalker, or a Palpatine, Ray Palpatine. Let's face it, Ray Palpatine. But every time they came to a place where she could have screwed up or failed,
Right.
or got showed up, or lost anything, they would back away from it, and it broke the verisimilitude, basically. It's like you can do with her. It's like the opposite thing where she was so precious to them that they refused to give her any kind of character development whatsoever, and then they wonder why everybody calls her Mary Sue. But
character development is for poor people and men. Okay, we don't need that around here.
There you go. But so what they would do is they to balance the story of them basically giving her no negative consequences for anything, they put them all on the characters around her, especially the men, and so all the men failed like all the time at everything. Constantly. I mean, Luke Skywalker loses a lightsaber duel with her. Luke freaking Skywalker.
I know. I was just like, come on.
It's because they got to that point where Luke could have like showed her something or done something to show that who was the master and who was the student, and they couldn't let it happen. Because they're such horrible writers, they couldn't let it happen. Oh, they couldn't the girl couldn't lose.
It's insane too. Like she's self-taught on everything. She taught herself how to bypass the compressor. She taught herself how to fly a Falcon. She taught herself how to every single thing.
She had to fix the hyperdrive. She fixed the hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it's fine.
After being in it like in a matter of a few hours.
That was actually, I think, the first time she ever flew any kind of ship.
Solo,
actually, too. She pulled off a maneuver like that gave Finn a perfect shot. Exactly. Literally the first time that she's ever flown anything. Okay, that's impressive.
Right, and then fix the hyperdrive that's been broken the whole entire history of there's so many plot points where that hyperdrive was broken, so they had to it completely altered what they could do.
You know what I need to do? I need to put in, this is another good thing that AI is fun for. I need to put in all the plot contrivances from The Force Awakens, and I need to ask what are the odds of every single thing happening in this order, and see what number I get, because right now the record is Man of Steel.
Numbers.
Man of Steel, for everything in Man of Steel to happen the way that it happened, it's 1 in 219 trillion.
Right.
That it happens. So I want to see if I can beat 219 trillion.
It's just poor writing. It's just really bad writing. And but the thing about it is, if you got somebody like Sauska, who is a completely totally she ain't no Kaylee Fry. Okay, I don't know who that is, but okay. But if you got somebody like Sauska, who is just basically, let's face it, they're rotten to the core.
Yeah.
In pretty much every conceivable way. Completely privileged, completely a living id. Yep. She's Veruca Salt.
Yes.
She's like a super powered Veruca Salt.
Yeah, she became I was gonna say she became a villain, but she kind of is a villain already. But she grew up, I guess.
Oh, okay. She's mechanic from Fire. Kaylee. I didn't know her last name was Fry. Okay.
Look, I'm just gonna plead the fact that it's been like a decade since I watched Firefly, so I plead mercy. Please. It's been a while.
I didn't make the connection because I forgot her last name was Fry. So, I have to turn in my brown coat. I turned in my brown coat. Sorry. Anyway.
The Philip J. Fry.
I don't know. That might be where they got the name from.
That probably is.
Joss, knowing Joss. He's been known to steal a name or two. Just saying. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, to write somebody that's just this horrible and this like just a Veruca Salt grown up, and super powered. It's just like, how do you allow her to be true to herself and kind of curtail how awful you allow her to be?
Yeah.
And it's like, if she's awful all the freaking time, and I've seen this where there's characters that are so awful and they kind of run rampant throughout the book, and it makes the book, like, I put those books down because it become so nihilistic that there's like no point to it after a while. It's like, oh, they did something else. Oh, they're doing something horrible again. And so you can, everything is always balance. Everything's balance. And so if you got somebody that's like negative traits that are like way over here and no good, and so basically the only way to balance that is to like have forces that won't allow her to be as awful as she wants to be.
Yes. That is actually it's like you've read my script. I know you haven't, but it's like you have. There's a sister she has that is the good sister, and she hates her. She hates her so much, and she hates everything about her. But... Yeah, and she just really wants to ruin her life. But it's the fact that she is a sister that she it's not that she's unwilling. It's that if there is a better chance that there would be retaliation from the rest of the family, and so she just lets it go, only because it suits her long term. But if she ever got the chance, she would destroy her life instantly just because she hates her so much, because she's everything that Sauska isn't. She is innocent and sweet and kind for no reason, and she's just like, she just hates her. It's just everything about her. She hates her. She thinks she's full of it.
Well, that's just a good point. She probably holds back because word got on the internet. She can't control it. She'd be on a most wanted list. So social pressure would definitely hinder Sauska, especially if she's trying to maintain this veneer of being, in this church. So I imagine that, she can't be Miss Janet if you're nasty, and all 24/7. So that's a good point. Yeah.
It is true that she can. It is hard to pin stuff on her though, without knowing what she is or knowing what she can do. It would be hard to, like, if a guy committed suicide in front of her. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say that on YouTube. If a guy whatever, if someone did that, you can't prove she did it. So even though she did it. So, like, how would you ever convict somebody like that? Which is another thing that makes her dangerous. Like,
which is, John had a point. She's Hillary.
Right, yeah. I'm not saying she makes a lot of donations to any particular party. Okay, I'm not saying that. I am implying it strong. I'm just kidding.
Sociopathic monster that seems to get away with frequent murders happening around her. Yeah, I could see a correlation there. Yeah, I think you have a point, John. You have a point. Anyway, okay. So let's close the drawer. All right. So for this part of the segment, when I have people on, I want to ask them, during this discussion, is there anything that you worked out that's going to help you to write her in the future?
I guess I wouldn't say anything I worked out, because she's someone with most of the main cast, and the main cast I would say is Ghost, Guru, and the Nephilim. I know them really well at this point, and I know how they would react to certain situations, and I know what their behavior would be in most situations. So in Sauska's case, that's one of the reasons why when we talked about this, I thought, no, she would be really good, because her backstory which makes her who she is, isn't really important to the book, because what's important to the book is everything that she does. She's very much she has a lot of agency, which is one of the reasons why I introduced her in the comic Morningstar Chronicles, because she's a crucial part of the next book, and it connects the characters. And she is actually the connecting thread from Ghost to Iris to another character named Catherine, who are like the big three protagonists that are working against the church. And all three of them are connected now because of Sauska. And so as a villain, even though she's not like the most powerful, she's not the mastermind, it is her actions which directly connect these people together in a significant way. And so the thing about this that's been really fun is, well, I actually just get to talk about my character, which is great, because like I like any writer, I think that I think I'm great and awful at the same time. So this is me getting to flex and pretend I'm great for about 40 minutes, which is awesome. And so that's a lot of fun. And it's really fun to talk about her and talk about how awful she is deep down. Don't have any sympathy for her. Don't think, oh, she just got a bad situation. No,
don't buy her bathwater. Okay. Yeah.
Don't buy her bathwater. Yeah.
Don't buy her bathwater.
Don't become a 14-month sub. Don't send in any super chats. Don't follow. Do not subscribe.
Don't subscribe.
Don't hit the bell icon. Stay away.
But this channel, feel free to
this one's safe. This one's safe.
Go ahead and put the link in the chat for me. I'll post that on the social media.
I'm typing, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Go ahead.
I also can't believe that the bathwater stuff is a real thing. I'm also shocked by that.
Yep. Okay, so it's you got the domain worked out. Okay. So I have to put the HTTP into
sorry about that.
On the internet.
So for everyone right now, if you want to read the introduction to Sauska, please swing by frostcomics.com. My comic book, my first ever solo comic book, solo where I'm the writer and I paid somebody talented to draw it. That's still available for free. It's a downloadable PDF that you get just for signing up on my mailing list. However, I will be selling physical copies of the book very, very soon on fundmycomic.com. And you can have one to hold if you prefer to have a physical copy. And I'm going to be including it in the campaign that I do for Morningstar #1 as an add-on. So there's going to be lots of different ways that you can get it. And I'm trying to work this out too, where I'm going to have a deluxe edition of Morningstar 1 that actually has both of the stories bundled together. So you get the Morningstar Chronicles prequel comic, you get Morningstar #1, and you get a bunch of really cool art, concept art, and all sorts of extras that'll be bundled all in one big special cover edition. So there's lots of different ways that you can read it, but you can read it now for free digitally, which is good stuff.
All righty.
There you go.
Yeah, you got it. I think you have to put the www, but maybe not. I don't know.
Anyway,
just whatever works.
It's fine. Yeah,
whatever works.
Just go for it.
Anyway,
read it and go vote for Ghost. Read it and go vote for Ghost. Comic book.
Vote for Ghost.
Comic Book Lundy. At Comic Book Lundy.
He's got to beat Pistol Shrimp and
beat Pistol Shrimp.
I'm
for
going
me
to,
and for Ironsides. Vote for Ghost.
Yeah, he beat Ironsides last round, and it was a little bit of an upset.
Yes,
I have to say. I'm trying to be kumbaya about it, but I am just a tad bitter. But it is what it is. What's he do? He's a pistol packing shrimp. Yeah. I've got a gravity user with an invulnerable crystal arm. Yeah. And he's American soldier. I mean, come on. Anyway, but evidently the pistol packing shrimp with.
It's a really
you know.
strong pistol, I guess. So I don't know what caliber, but it's got to be a
I
magnum.
don't know. I don't know. They look tiny. They
did look pretty small though. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So go Ghost.
Go
All I'm
Ghost.
saying. Go Ghost.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So anybody that out there watching this right now or watching this replay, and you have a comic to promote, and you want to come on the show and run the gauntlet like my friend Jared has, and just introduce people to your character, because we're all writers and we all have characters we love. They're like our children, and hate.
I love to hate Sauska. I really
love
do.
to hate. Love to hate.
I think she's going to be a great villain.
Yeah, even if you got an awful kid, you still love them on some level.
It's true.
You'll still give them an alibi, or whatever. But but anyway, so if you got hero or villain or any character that you that will help you promote your story, just send me a DM on X, and we'll get you on next Character Autopsy, next AAA. Yeah. Which is Artist Assisted Autopsy.
Finally, I'm AAA.
You're AAA. You're AAA rated. So anyway, so that has been Sauska. This has been Jared from Frost Comics, and we will see you next Thursday. So hopefully, I've got a few people I'm going to contact about maybe coming on. Anyway. I know what you mean. It was redemption arc for all my villains, but that doesn't serve the story.
Not if this one.
If you got a character you wanna promote, Wrangler, you're more.
I have never seen him on stream, so he should come on. That would be great. That'd be cool.
Yeah, he came on a stream a couple weeks back.
Nice.
He was on it with me and Cruel, talking about how did Christians lose the culture.
Oh, nice. I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah. I ran across these guys who were bad mouthing the King of Kings, that 3D animated cartoon that came out. It's based on a work by Charles Dickens, and they were like, because they didn't quote the scripture like verbatim, and then they were like saying, well, I don't think anybody should ever portray Christ because he's too sacred, and I was like, how's that different from Muhammad? They're not allowing any depictions of Muhammad. How is that any different? It's like, I think the whole entire point of Christ is the fact that he's, God with face, human flesh on, but anyway,
man, we could dive into a whole thing about that, but I think a lot of people get confused. I think when like Christians are not worshiping actual imagery or an idol when they put up something that's depicting Jesus. It's just a reminder of what we're actually worshiping. But I digress. So,
well, I mean, I think it's like the same guys were bad mouthing the Chosen because it's like Mormons on Angel Studios, and I'm like, okay, there's people right now that are going back to the church because of Chosen. How in the world can you call evil or good evil and evil good? And it was, anyway. So we had a nice little discussion, and that was a couple weeks back.
Yeah,
but,
well, as you know, catching the replay is my friend, so I'll have to go back and I'll look that one up. That sounds good.
There you go. I have to see if I can. I usually drive somewhere in the middle.
I'm sympathetic to that, man.
Well, I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Anyway, that's been Cooper for Telepathic Bunny Comics here with my buddy Jared, and follow the White Rabbit. We will see you next time.
Night, everybody.
And I have to do that. I have to get the end stream up before I do that. I keep doing that, and then there's like this gap where we're all sitting there like, is it going to?
It does make for a good outtake, though, if you ever need to do
it. It does. It really does. Anyway, ending it now.